Elon Musk thought he was walking into a routine security briefing until he was shown footage that could bring down some of the most powerful figures in the country. Now, he's being hunted. Elon had been inside Secret Service headquarters plenty of times before. It wasn't the kind of place where people laughed or lingered. It ran like a machine, orderly, efficient, predictable. But today, the moment he stepped past security, something felt off. The usual rhythm of the building was disrupted. Agents, who normally carried themselves with quiet confidence, now moved with purpose. Quick steps, hushed voices, a few stolen glances in his direction. It wasn't obvious at first, but years of dealing with high-stakes negotiations had sharpened his instincts. Something was wrong. He wasn't just here for a routine briefing. As he approached the main security checkpoint, a uniformed agent with an earpiece met him before he could even pull out his ID. That wasn't normal. "Mr. Musk," the agent's voice was low, urgent. "Follow me." Elon hesitated for half a second. The way the agent said it, like he had no choice, set off an internal alarm. But he wasn't about to show hesitation. "What's this about?" he asked, his tone even. The agent didn't answer. Instead, he pressed his ID against a panel, unlocking a corridor that led away from the usual meeting rooms. Elon followed, his footsteps echoing against the polished floor. The hallways here were different. No windows, no standard offices, just a row of doors with electronic keypads. Each required clearance levels far beyond what he usually dealt with. His mind raced. The Secret Service didn't summon people like this unless something serious was happening. Finally, the agent stopped outside an unmarked steel door. No nameplate, no insignia, just a retinal scanner. He turned to Elon, his expression unreadable. "They're waiting for you inside." Elon didn't blink. Whatever was happening here, someone wanted him to see it. He stepped through the doorway. Inside, the room was dimly lit, dominated by a massive screen covering an entire wall. 3 senior agents stood in front of it, their backs straight, arms crossed. They weren't here for small talk. One of them, a man he recognized as Deputy Director Mark Ellis, turned to him. "Close the door." Elon exhaled slowly, then did as he asked. Ellis wasted no time. "What you're about to see doesn't leave this room." Elon kept his voice steady. "Then why am I here?" Ellis didn't answer. Instead, he pressed a button on a nearby console. The screen flickered to life. At first, it was just security footage. Grainy, black and white, time-stamped less than 48 hours ago. The camera feed showed a side entrance to a nondescript building somewhere in Washington, D.C. A sedan pulled up. The rear door opened. A man stepped out. Elon's stomach tensed. He recognized him immediately. Everyone would. This was about to be big, but he had no idea just how deep it went. The man stepping out of the sedan was someone who built his career on law and order. A name the public trusted. But here he was, moving with calculated precision, glancing over his shoulder before slipping into the building. Elon knew that walk, the walk of someone who wasn't supposed to be there. The camera feed switched angles, now showing the inside of a dim corridor. The man was met by another figure, face obscured, but the body language said enough. They knew each other. No words were exchanged, just a nod before the two disappeared behind a heavy metal door. Elon exhaled through his nose. He didn't like where this was going. Ellis spoke up. "The location is a secure, privately owned facility, not government property, not listed anywhere, no official records." Elon's mind raced. He gestured at the screen. "Who owns it?" Another agent, a woman with a sharp gaze, stepped forward. "A shell company registered out of Delaware. Traced it back to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. The owner is completely anonymous. Elon crossed his arms. And, let me guess, this isn't the first time he's been there. Ellis nodded grimly. We have surveillance covering the last 6 months. He's visited 8 times, always at night, always using a different car, never with a security detail. Elon shook his head. A man in his position didn't just sneak around for no reason. The footage jumped forward. The metal door opened again, and more figures entered the room. Elon counted them, 7 in total. All men, well-dressed, confident, like they knew they were untouchable. The camera angle wasn't ideal, but one of them turned just enough for the system to register a partial facial match. A file appeared in the corner of the screen. Elon's breath caught. Number. This didn't make sense. The man on the screen wasn't just some businessman or lobbyist. He was someone the federal government actively monitored. A foreign national with known ties to intelligence operations overseas. The kind of person who wasn't even supposed to be on U.S. soil without making headlines. And yet, here he was. Elon turned to the agents. Are we sure this footage is real? That it hasn't been doctored? The female agent crossed her arms. We triple verified it. This is raw, untouched surveillance. Ellis walked over to the console, fast-forwarding the footage. The group sat around a long table, documents spread in front of them. Occasionally, someone would lean in and speak, but there was no audio. Elon's jaw clenched. What the hell are they discussing? Ellis let out a slow breath. That's the part we don't know yet. Elon exhaled sharply. The pieces weren't adding up. This wasn't just a bad look for a politician. This was something deeper, something coordinated. He turned back to the screen as the footage jumped again. One of the men, an older figure with silver hair and an expensive suit, placed a thick manila folder on the table. The politician reached for it, flipping through the pages. His face gave nothing away, but his fingers tapped once against the paper. Elon knew body language. That wasn't a reaction of surprise. That was confirmation. The meeting continued for another 10 minutes before the documents were tucked away. Hands were shaken, and the politician exited the same way he came. Quiet, discreet, like he knew no one would ever find out. Ellis shut off the screen. That's all we have for now. Elon rubbed his temple. His mind raced through every possible scenario, every angle of what this could mean. This wasn't just corruption. This was a negotiation. And it was happening right under their noses.